Today I am going to show you 4 painting ideas that are bright, happy, and a little eclectic. So whether you feel like creating but you don't know what to create, maybe you just need a little confidence boost and a pep talk, or maybe you're looking to decorate your home with some trendy artwork. These are all great ideas for that. So let's get started. I hope you find these helpful. Before we dive into this video, I just want to acknowledge that everybody who is watching this is at different levels and we all come from different places. So if you don't have some of the same supplies that I am using and maybe those things are not accessible to you, that is totally fine. Just use what you have. My main thing here is I really want people to enjoy art for the process, and you are the one who holds the skill. You're the one who controls the paintbrush and everything. So if you don't have top of the line stuff, that's okay. You don't even have to use paint. You can draw. Another thing I want to say, all of these paintings will be available in my shop, and I will also have limited edition prints available at mirabyler.com. This first idea comes from a tiny painting in a tiny sketchbook, and I am going to turn it into a larger painting. So if you haven't been with my channel for very long, I have a sketchbook series where I fill a tiny sketchbook with you folks. And this is from that sketchbook. But how does this idea apply directly to you? Well, first of all, you can go through those tiny sketchbook videos if you want and paint something from them. Or you can go through your own artwork and maybe you doodled something like on the corner of your class notes, or on a napkin in a restaurant, whatever. And maybe that idea lived in your mind and you were like, one day I'll do this. Either I'm too lazy or I'm not brave enough right now, but one day. Well, maybe that day was like 8 months ago and you totally forgot about your ambitions to turn it into artwork. Here is your prompt. Do it. Just go find that doodle, go find that little thing and create something with it. I actually did not use a reference photo for this. And my whole point was, you know what? My imagination is capable of coming up with artwork. So let's just see where this goes. And on that tiny sketchbook page, I just followed my instincts. I did a checkered background. I did this white vase and I used red. And red and ultramarine blue, I think they look really beautiful together, but I've never quite been bold enough to play around with those colors. So that's what we're doing on this little painting, even though it's bigger than that tiny one. So even though I didn't use reference photos for this, I took a long time painting it. All these checkers, yeah. By the way, if you're new to my YouTube channel, I just want to lay out some things for you. This canvas was already painted this bright blue color when I started, and that is the underpainting. I pretty much cover all of my canvases with a solid color before I start. And that's because if there's any little gaps in your painting, instead of that white canvas showing through and it looking kind of like bland and incomplete, this lets the color leak through the gaps in your paintbrushes. It leaks through the thinner layers and it unifies your whole painting. If you look really closely, you can see that blue leaking through the light pink checkers right now. Some of that is going to leak through at the end and it adds a really cool stylistic effect. A lot of artists actually do this, and you can play around and change up that color to give it like a warmer, unified look or a colder look. Because I did red and really bright ultramarine blue, I chose a colder color, and I'm pretty happy with it. But I wanted to explain that at the beginning because I do that all the time here on my channel, and I get that question a lot. So I want you folks to be in the know, and maybe it will inspire you to try that technique too. Totally up to you. I have really been wanting to do this, as I said, ever since I made the tiny version in my sketchbook. I just knew it would be so fun to do this on a canvas too. So yeah, that's how this idea kind of came to life. It was just toying around in this mini sketchbook. I have been really into eclectic artwork where colors kind of clash and they're really bright and bold and there's like fun patterns. And it's something that I normally don't do. So this was brave for me, and I hope it's a fun activity for you as well. All right, the next painting here, you can see it's already covered too. I call that toning the canvas, but I do them in big batches sometimes so that when I start a painting, they're already like ready. And now I'm taking this vine charcoal and I am sketching out a peach. So this idea is a really fun one, and I hope it inspires you. If you are a person of many interests, even a few interests, it doesn't really matter. Merge your hobbies together. So I love gardening, I love nature, and I decided, okay, I also love art, so why don't I paint the things that I love? So here I am painting a little branch that's hanging with two delicious looking peaches, and yeah, I'm actually laying on the paint really thick on the peaches, and you can see the brush strokes. So another thing you can do with this idea is play around with your layers. You can do some spots with really thick layering like this to add some character. And then later in other places on your painting, you can do thinner layers. I think it's really cool because it makes some spots really pop out. So I will do thinner layers for the rest of the painting and thicker layers here for the foreground. Okay, so here is where I'm doing the thinner layers in the background, and I'm actually going to do a solid color, but pay attention as I layer because you're gonna see the background leak through a little bit, and that's because I'm doing thinner layers. But I love the effect of underpaintings and toning your canvas. Sometimes as artists, I think we can get into our head. And first of all, we can say, well, I'm not worthy enough of even calling myself an artist. And we refuse to even acknowledge that, I make art, therefore I can be an artist. But also, I think we can get in our heads and be like, okay, why would I even bother creating this if I know the outcome probably won't be good? And if you've ever felt this way, I just want to give you some encouragement that when we think like that, the outcome probably won't be good because we are already going into it with a negative mindset. But if you adjust your perspective a little bit, this is something that I do that I find really helpful. So I hope it's helpful for you too. I focus on the journey. And when I jump into it and I have a fresh palette in front of me and a blank canvas, I think of it as, wow, I am about to learn so much. This is such a blessing that I have the time right now and the art supplies to create something. And I have no idea where this is going, but I get to play around with color. I get to play around with layering, and I can choose whatever I want to paint right now. And this is awesome, because I am setting myself up for learning. And then when you take your focus off of the end product and instead you shift your sight to the journey, I think there's so much fun in that. And there's also a lot of wisdom to be gained. And every day I am still learning as an artist. And I think that's another blessing. We always get to learn as artists and change and grow. Anyway, I hope that encourages all the scared folks out there to create anyway for the journey. I'm not even joking. I have been wanting to paint a peach for the longest time, and I've wanted to do it on a tiny canvas like this. So I'm really glad I had one of these laying around my house and that I could include this in this video. It's summer right now, and I really do think painting produce this year is pretty trendy. It's like, I don't know, I think a lot of us are more into gardening and stuff lately, unless I'm just on a very different algorithm than a lot of people. Am I stuck in a rabbit hole? Can anybody relate to this? I don't know. Anyway, I'm thoroughly enjoying gardening and bringing that aspect into my artwork. I'm not growing peaches, but just like the thought of painting something along the lines of something else that I like to do is very recharging. So yeah, incorporate some hobbies, merge your hobbies into one. Me, gardening, painting. That's why I paint a lot of flowers, by the way. I really, really love nature and traveling and looking at gardens. That's also why I paint water, because traveling. I really just love being outside. Okay, you might be wondering why I'm even including this painting in this video, because I have done so many paintings like this on my channel before. But the thing is, when we create, sometimes creating the same things over and over is super therapeutic to us. And I think it's important to acknowledge that. You know, what is the thing that is therapeutic for you to paint and why? I really like painting flowers. And so I do bouquets, I do flower fields, you know, whatever. And so here I'm doing a bouquet. And recently I did a bunch of bouquets like this that were like moody bouquets with dark backgrounds. I didn't know what my intentions were going into this. Honestly, I just wanted some comfort. So that's what I did. I painted this and I was comfortable. So that's seriously my advice to you for this idea is like, paint what's comfortable to you. Do the same thing over and over. We don't have to be exotic and push the line for every single painting. But if you do pick something that's comfortable, you can be exotic within those parameters, you know? Say you don't normally do bold colors, but you like painting bouquets. Wow, you can switch up like one little thing, but still keep your comfort zone. That is liberating. Or maybe you like to do really thin layers and don't show a lot of brush strokes and keep things smooth, and you like to paint flowers, but you want to be brave and switch it up and do thicker paint. Well, you can still paint the same thing and just try a different technique. So yeah, I think as artists, jumping into things that are different can be scary, but we often forget that we can keep painting the same things and just change up a couple variables. This idea is not super new or super exciting, but I think as artists, we need these reminders. But also this idea, I am going to offer it to you. Paint a bouquet and then just do a solid colored dark background because the effect is so cool. I love it so much. And I am going to spice this up and give it a completely eclectic vibe at the end. So stay tuned. I will show it to you in a second. Oh my goodness. Okay, this piece was so fun to create because it looks very like classic and moody and just whatever, proper when you look at it like this. But then you see the side. So that is my fun way of dressing up a canvas. You can have a painting look a certain way when you look at it head on, but if you add something spicy on the sides, It just really changes the whole vibe. Like, this would be so fun to hang on a wall now because the edges are just colorful and playful. If you have a picture that you've been dying to paint, like a bouquet, but it also maybe sounds bland in the moment, it's the sides. Do something funky. I'm gonna show you the sides up close, but I actually did like a fluorescent red and a fluorescent reddish orange, and I did all these like dashed lines. So it's not even a solid color. It is so hard to see it because it's like, as I said, fluorescent. You can either do a solid color, I usually do a solid color, or you can get playful and do something like this, even though it's very hard to see. It's like a trick on the eyes when it's far away though. Like, is it pink or is it orange? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that idea. Let's move on to the next one. The final painting idea. Where are my animal lovers? Raise your hand, comment down below what your favorite animal is. I want to know. It does not have to be an animal that's normally a pet. It can be whatever you want, but yeah, I am painting a cat right now, and I encourage you to pick your favorite animal and just place them like in a field of wildflowers. It doesn't even have to be an animal that normally would live in that environment. I just think it's so cute seeing animals surrounded by flowers. And now this one, we are going to get funky later in this painting. So if this idea sounds boring to you at first, stay tuned because we're going to switch it up a lot at the end. I saw this picture of this cat on Pixabay, I believe, and that's a royalty-free image site. So if you do need reference photos and you don't know where to find them, highly suggest Pixabay. That is Pixabay. This is not sponsored. I just want to help you folks. So anyway, I found this cat. I thought it was so cute, and I decided to do my own thing in the background though. So for this one, I am intentionally letting this teal show through the fur because the cat in the picture had a little bit of a colder undertone because it was partially like in a field of flowers. So yeah, but I'm altering that picture because I have fun ideas for the end, as I said. Let's start our flowers now. I'm going to do this very impressionistically, just with little brush strokes here and there. They don't even have to definitely look like flowers. It can be implied in our minds. Once we're at this part, I just filled all the spaces with green and then decided, I will layer over that. We don't have to overcomplicate this here. We'll just fill in the area we want to be flowers and then layer lighter blobby green things over top. And it's like leaves. If you break things into just a bunch of shapes like that, sometimes it really helps remove that layer of intimidation. Now for this part, I am going to do checkers in the background again. And I just think this is such a fun way to incorporate patterns into artwork and change things up. The foreground is impressionistic, and then the background is like this pop art vibe. And I think combining styles like that within a painting really makes artwork interesting. So now I'm just layering more on top of flowers, adding brighter strokes of color and detail where I think it's needed. You can do as many layers as you want, make it as bright as you want. I kept my wildflower field down to 3 types of flowers this time, but you could go wild. Wild flowers. Anyway, you could do tons of colors if you wanted. I also decided to brighten up the checkers at the end because I thought it would be more fitting. And also, again, I'm going to paint the sides of this a really bright, fun color. I think it adds a nice eclectic vibe and yeah, be fun to hang in the house like that. This one was so fun. Like the idea that I initially had for it changed midway through. I decided, you know what, let's do something wild. Let's hop back into the checkered theme, do the background in checkers. So it's cool because for this painting, I can interpret it like, oh, maybe the cat's inside of a greenhouse or something, or maybe the sky is just checkered. I don't know. It's just so fun doing weird things with your art. We don't have to get all uptight with art. There aren't all these rigid rules. I think that's why some classic artists are so famous, because they pushed those lines and they did these like cool, weird things, or like bold brush strokes, and then it was exciting, and now they're in museums and we look at them. So yeah, keep that in mind when you create. Like, be bold and have fun. Do thick textures or thin washes or just whatever sounds fun to you as an artist. We don't have to just do one style either. I hop around all the time. It's great. All right, art family, I hope you liked these art ideas. This is honestly like, I just sat in my studio and painted whatever I wanted to for a couple days. This is what came of it. And when I was done, I was like, you know what? I just had this wild wave of inspiration. Let me share these ideas with other people, and hopefully that helps people who are feeling uninspired to feel the inspiration that I just felt. As I said, all of these paintings are available in my store. I will also have prints available if you want them, so head on over to mirabyler.com if you want any of this. Also, I just want to say, if you want to share your art with me, you can head over to my Instagram and tag me at mirabyler. I do want to put a little warning here. Sometimes I share people's art who like tags me. So if you're cool with me sharing your art, then tag me. But if you're not, probably don't tag me. All right, thanks for hanging out, chatting, and doing some art with me. There's a lot of art coming. I'm so excited to share the next couple videos with you. All right, I'll see you later. Have a beautiful day. Bye.